The primary purpose of Innovative AAC Solutions, the podcast, is to educate and inform. The views expressed during all episodes are solely those of the individuals involved and do not constitute educational or medical advice. They are not necessarily the views of Special School District of St. Louis County. Welcome back, guys. Innovative AAC Solutions, the podcast. We are in our last episode for the year. Can you believe it, Cheryl?
No, it's gone fast.
Yes, for some of us. Although last night I was woken up 5 times by my daughter.
Oh well. No, we're not talking day by day. We're talking the big year wise. It has gone fast.
Yeah,
this part has gone fast.
For sure. I feel like we've just shared so many resources, and I'm so excited. But I am most excited for this last episode. How about you?
Yeah, no. I'm glad we saved it to the end because it's like the reason we are who we are.
Yes. So we'll kind of leave that as a teaser because I feel like is there an episode you can think back on this year as far as what's your favorite or one that you're like, oh, people should go back to that this summer?
Oh, well, all of them. But I find myself, and that's what I love about the fact that we do this, Laura, because I find myself then saying to my teams, my people, hey, go back and watch. Hey, go back. So I love the fact that I've got some place to send, staff to learn. I probably referenced the GLP, the Gestalt language processing one the most, in the fact that it's like, perfectly canned explanation and for them to get get deep diving is hard, especially when we're busy, but just a little bit of a taste. So I appreciate that interview that you did with Alex.
Well, I definitely reference that one a lot. It comes up on a weekly, if not daily basis. But I also think the one we did on pod and the parent perspective was a really, really great one that I reference a lot too. And we have another parent with us today that I think is going to give so much insight and many resources. And again, I just kind of want to tease it for a second because we do have some fun finds to share.
Yes,
we do. So let's jump into yours. What do you have for us this week? I'm curious.
All right. So this is, beginning of summer. And I don't know, as far as we're going to release this real soon. So you guys will have experienced 90-degree days, I'm sure, by the time you see this. So, okay, winter. I don't think we had spring. We went to winter to summer. So summer fun for all of us is to sit back, watch some videos, chill. Well, those are communication opportunities. So on Instagram, just recently, I found a post, and it's from... if you guys can see my screen, Spiffy Speech, that's a hard one to say, and the Speech Express went together and posted this. But anyway, they link us to all kinds of wordless videos, which, again, opportunities to talk about it. They're not talking for you, so let's talk about it. And some new ones. This in Dice 50, I kind of think I got the impression when I was watching it real quick that it's maybe from another country. It's not something that was produced here. So, but that's okay. It's wordless. We don't have to understand somebody else's spoken language. So all kinds of cool ones. Some of them you may have seen and already used, but I wanted you to think about the fact that you could add these to your repertoire of just let's sit back and chat. And these are going to be things we can chat about. So I've always loved them, but I was excited to see it packaged. It was easy for us to just shoot it out there and share it, and everybody could take advantage of it.
So they give a couple different ideas when they give these videos. Is it 10 total? 10 total videos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 9, and then she's got some more listed.
9 and oh my gosh, I love it. This is going to keep us busy. I think there's more. If you did one video a week, you wouldn't even get through them all.
That's true.
So, if someone's never used wordless videos, let's just recap. Why would we use wordless videos over ones that have text or, that have words to them? What would be the benefit?
All right. Well, I find what I've been trying to kind of like talk about is passive participation and active participation. And I think when we watch a video, and our kids love videos, I mean, again, from, I don't know, so 20 years on, 20 years back or whatever, these kids have grown up with videos. So, but it's a very passive thing. It's just taking it in, taking it in, taking it in. So when it's wordless, I find it becomes active then, because yes, we're taking it in, but I feel we want to share, we want to talk, we want to add to it and comment on it. And I want it to be an active engagement. So I find that the wordless videos promote more active engagement, more participation, commenting, just sharing, oh my gosh, what happened? Because it's not that auditory input, but yet there's visually something to talk about. So I think that wordless videos just lead you into more communication because of the fact that it's lots of stuff going on, but we can stop and talk about it, and we can pause it, and just talk about what you see, what happened, what's going to happen next. That to me makes it so much more of like I said, a communication opportunity than just watching a video. And because I think when there's a lot of verbal going on, a lot of, speech in the background, it's like you feel like you're talking over it. And so this way you're talking with it. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, you're kind of directing the activity, right? You're giving the subtitles yourself, or you're giving the characters the vocabulary, and it's open to interpretation. So it's a little more errorless than if there's a script in front of you.
Yeah. And we could watch the same video and we could say different things. So yes, I love that.
Yeah. And I think it makes it a wider range too for ages, for cognitive levels, right? You can use it with a group that might be focusing on different things, because again, there's not a paragraph or one sentence. Like there's nothing to make you think that this is the level that it needs to be. Same with wordless books. I like them for that same reason too. What a fun summer activity, Cheryl.
Yeah. And like I said, it's not just for what I consider my kids, our kids. It's more just everybody. We could all have fun. We could put this up on a screen and have an outdoor party, and everybody, with the, adults could be commenting. So,
absolutely.
I love the diversity of it.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I know what part of my summer is going to be. I'm going to be catching up on some of these videos. So my fun find is in relationship to, I'll kind of tag on to yours. I'm going to share my screen for a second. It's from Kids Connect Psychology. I have never heard of them before, but they have some fantastic resources. And I, of course, stumbled across this one on some social media from someone who shared. And they have some free, some paid resources, but one of the resources that they had shared on their Instagram account was this one right here that I'm going to pull up. And it is called Child-Led Doesn't Mean Let Them Do Whatever They Want.
Okay, yes.
Have you seen this one?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that graphic, yeah.
I just kind of wanted to reflect on it at the end of the year, because I think there has been a little bit of a push in recent years, if not recent months, that we should be really focusing on, and I kind of agree with this, is that it should be child-led, right? Especially with communication, because it is intrinsic anyway, right? We don't want, or we shouldn't want kids to just parrot back the answers or a compliance-based activity. We really want it to be child-led, because as our interviewee is going to show us in a little bit, the real heart of communication is when you do child-led, because you never know where it's going to take you. You don't know where the connection and the communication points are going to take you. So this is a really good graphic, because sometimes when you tell someone child-led, they think, well, I'm letting them do whatever they want. I have no structure. I have no control. And that's not what it means. What it does mean is what they're pointing out. We notice what they notice. We set safe boundaries, right? We're not just letting them do willy-nilly whatever they feel like they need, because they may not know exactly what they need, but it's about sharing the joy. It's about acknowledging their needs, respecting their opinions, and empowering them. And that, in a nutshell, is what we want for all of our AAC users. So I just felt like this was such a powerful post, and kind of a reframing of what child-led really means. So if you're thinking about, how can I shift my therapy? How can I shift what I'm doing in the classroom to support authentic communication? These are some really great strategies and shifts in your mindset of how we can do that. So it's not let them stim on their device. It's not let them go over to the toy area and abandon the structured activity of what you have set up. But it is, if they go over to a window and they are motivated by talking about things they see outside, go with that. Shift your therapy to be a little more improvisation, as we like to call it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and just like, again, I love hearing stories about your kids. How many times has Wes gotten you off topic about something? So he wasn't necessarily in that whole idea that they're going to be wild. It's like, no, they can do it. But he has his access to language, and his, speech is very clear. So it's not like you having any trouble understanding him, but he's doing that. He's leading you. He's doing things that are helping you to, and I love notice what they notice. I sometimes I think we if we could look through their eyes, well, let them tell you what they see, what they are interested in. And then it has that connection and it's more meaningful to them. Thus it will carry over into the next communication opportunity. So big issues that we need to help people to feel different about, because I do feel like we've been very controlling. Speech pathologists in the 100 years that we've been in business have been very controlling. So let's loosen up.
Well, we're all type A or have a version of type A, and we all want what's best. So I don't want this to come across like everybody's doing everything wrong, but I will share 2 quick stories. Like last night we had a parents as teachers meeting, and they're asking the questions like, well, what is Esther doing? Is she doing this? Is she doing that? And one of the questions was, can she point to a body part? And I was like, oh yeah, she's been pointing to at least her nose, and we're working on a few other ones. She can point to her ears and contacts and yes, this, that, and the other. Cheryl, by golly, I could not get that child to point to her nose if her life depended upon it. She was focused on everything that Wesley was playing with. So she was focused on the blocks, and then she was focused on climbing the chair to climb up on the table. And if I would ask her to point to her nose, she would sign all done. And now she's kind of vocalizing all done too. So she is my second born for sure. She is like, I will not perform. I will not perform on command. I won't do it.
She's like, what is wrong with you? Why are you on this nose thing? Come on, let's play. Yeah.
And then with Wesley, he's so interesting because even in, he's, I would say he's a fairly independent communicator, maybe in some regards still context dependent, in the sense that he will go off topic. So we were trying to have a conversation with his grandma on the phone the other day, and she was asking him some questions, and he decided to take a sharp right turn and start talking about an experience with his aunt at the beach. Okay, that's fine. He has that ability because he has flexible, authentic language that he can pull from. We're going to have some examples of someone doing that in an interview you do in a little bit. But I think it's so important to understand that it doesn't have to be on topic. Like it doesn't have to be our topic. If we're flexible with how we respond, they have that flexibility, and you can really see the power of, and they can see the power of what they have, knowing that it can be flexible. So 2 quick stories about just typical language development and how it can really impact and reflect what we should be offering our AAC users. Because sometimes we pigeonhole them into, they should be doing all these target words. And if they do something that deviates from those target words, then that's wrong, or they haven't learned language. But it's a shift in a mindset. So with that, what do we have? What did you bring to the table for us today? Because I'm so excited about it.
All right. Well, it's a big, like I said, it's a big finale in the fact that we've got 2 separate interviews. So let's talk about mom first. We've interviewed a parent, and she's a very active parent, has been throughout Isaiah's whole life. So she's always been somebody that we've talked with. I mean, I supported him when he was at Litzinger years ago, and she was very involved. So she's that parent who has definitely made sure she was a part of this, whole AAC journey, is how I was referring it to when I was interviewing her. So Julie is definitely, somebody who, and she researches, she finds, she's active. So we talked to her, and I talked to her about kind of how this all came to be and what's it been like. And she did a wonderful job of helping me have a better perspective of what it was for her. And she, and again, she could put into words the feelings and the concerns she had. So we talked to her and talk about how wonderful her son is. Well, then you also get to meet her son. So, and initially, Laura, you and I were talking about this. I knew right away that Isaiah isn't going to just answer our questions. You know, with the adult, we send him the questions and we talk and we go. But I knew Isaiah wasn't going to do that. He just isn't that kind of kid who's going to be kind of like you were saying, you know, I'm not doing it just because you want to do it, Cheryl, you know. So I knew we were going to have to kind of do something different. So in our time with Isaiah, it was all about connection. It was all about joy. And I'm hoping, Laura was watching it earlier and giggling the whole time she was listening to it. So I'm hoping the joy comes through the screen because he was having a great time. And he is definitely what I would consider a good device user, but he's not a performer. He's not I'm going to say it just because you told me to say it. And he sometimes makes his team, the staff that support him, wonder, you know, if he's knows this stuff. And then all of a sudden it's just like, boom, you can tell he knows where stuff is. But it's just that understanding of what language is about, what connections about. He's you know, thinking about his perspective. So one of the things his mom commented on too was that, you know, he wants to talk about himself. He doesn't necessarily care what your opinion is. But I think we did have a good chance to capture on a video that we were going back and forth. It was reciprocal. I was a part of that communication, but it was definitely Isaiah who was leading the conversation. So I enjoyed my time that I was spending with both of them.
Well, and so it's a full circle, not a full circle moment, but like it's an extension for me because I had Isaiah my first year here at the district back when he was in Pattonville. And so I got to meet Julie and he was on a totally different system. So I think it's a good example too of when, you know, he learned like some language on that system. And then there were some features that he didn't have in that system that Julie and the team felt like he needed. So he switched systems. So he was on Proloco to Go. He switched to Touch Chat. And there are very specific features that he will highlight, namely his jokes page, his animal page, within his interview with you that he has just connected with. And and the social page too, just like those questions that he engages with that are so powerful for him. And I love that. And you know, Julie, you know, she's been such a big integral part of the AAC community, both at the St. Louis ARC and then the parent group that meets on a quarterly basis for AAC users. So I just think that there's such a great example of the power of AAC and what it offers. And Isaiah has the best laugh I have heard in such a long time. It starts kind of just internal and you're like, I think he's laughing, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And, you know, when you listen to a lot of podcasts, I do think that sometimes the select chosen are people that are completely fluent and independent with their device use. And like you mentioned, are ones that you can ask a question to and they can give a fluid answer that's completely on the spot and independent. What I like about this interview is that I think we can see so many of our AAC users that have language, but that are still learning how to be proficient with it. And so you do such a nice job, and his SLP do such a nice job of interpreting the context and then also giving extension opportunities and still following his lead. So I love all of that in your interview with both of them. I think it's going to be, I'm so excited. I think it's going to be a favorite for so many listeners.
Good.
So
thank you.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's lead into your interview with Julie and Isaiah.
Hi guys, it's Cheryl Livingston with AAC Innovations, and I am definitely excited today to have somebody who I have had a chance to get to know, but also she's representing the mothers. Mother's Day is coming up this weekend, right, Julie? She's representing the mothers of students that use AAC. And I am thrilled to have her with us. So this is Julie Thompkins, and I would like for you to take a chance and introduce yourself to us. Let us know a little bit about who you are and how did you come into this world of AAC? You're a resident expert. I know that.
We've been doing it for a while. Thanks for having me, and thanks for your input throughout the years with my son's use of his AAC. So my husband and I have two older children who, Micah and Elise, and when they were both in elementary school, we adopted Isaiah. We fostered and then adopted Isaiah. And he was about 18 months when he came to us. And at the time, we really didn't know. We knew he was delayed, but we didn't know big picture what life was going to look like. His first 6 months with us, he just really took off. I think he had come from a pretty difficult situation, and he went from not being able to sit up to pulling up and cruising on furniture and trying to chat with us. But about the time he was 4, we started to notice a big leveling off, definitely on the communication piece. There weren't new words. He was becoming really frustrated by not being able to get his points across. We tried sign language, but he has some difficulties with using his fingers to, perfectly make the signs. So we had a lot of modified signs. We had a lot of modified words, but we also had a lot of frustration. So that's what kind of led us to think through if a communication app at the time is what we were looking into. I think the iPad came out right around that time. And Proloquo to Go was the very first one that I know was out there. And so we explored that on our own. We purchased an iPad and got that app. And I went to Closing the Gap, which is an annual conference, and got all sorts of information and pretty well trained on how to move forward. So that's how it all started.
Okay. So when I first met Isaiah, he was at Litzinger. And so had he been early childhood? Did he do that in Pattonville? Is that where
he did? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So at 3, so from 3 to 5, he was early childhood in Pattonville. And then kindergarten and first grade at Litzinger. And then he went back to Pattonville for the rest of elementary and into middle school.
And what came across right away, guys, is he had a personality like nobody's business, and he knew it. but just that smile and just he could light up a room. So it's almost like the idea that as far as communication goes, Isaiah was getting his point across, but it was with a lot of physical gestures and smiles and stuff. But he was using his device, so he was learning. Did you feel like when he was little, that I'm always curious, like, what did he say? What was his reaction when you put that device in front of him, or when you started kind of introducing it?
He's always loved words and certain sounds. And so he pretty quickly found certain words that he likes the sounds of. He loves the hard cuss sound, the hard gus sound. So we were hearing a lot of those words over and over and over again. So there was a lot of exploration with it. And then he did fairly quickly kind of lean into food was the main thing that he started, because he could ask specific things that he wanted. So that's kind of where he leaned into seeing that, if I say something on here, this works.
Well, yeah, I say it and I get it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's definitely the hook that we need to take advantage of. With the siblings, what were their thoughts about it when you were exploring all this technology?
I think new technology is always really interesting to kids. So they were very interested in it. They weren't like, I was a little overwhelmed with, there were so many different ways we could program it and how should we do this? And they took to it without any sort of guidebook at all. And they jumped on it right away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my first memories of working with you, Julie, was that you were trying to figure it out. You took it very seriously, and it was it wasn't just, sometimes parents have a tendency to kind of like, well, let school take care of that. But you were so hands-on. You were very involved and had, lots of questions. You wanted to figure it out. So back to going to Closing the Gap, what was it that you were like, what were you looking for? What was your kind of, well, first of all, tell me about your experience with technology prior to this. Were you a techie kind of person, or?
I enjoy technology, but okay. I'm not a computer science major.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah.
But yes, I've always enjoyed technology. I haven't been phobic of it by any means. Okay. I think with Isaiah, because his disability impacts him in multiple ways, part of what I needed to figure out was, how do you even keep this device with a child who uses a walker? And what I remember at Closing the Gap, the exhibition hall was one of the most helpful things, because I could walk around and see, RJ Cooper, I think it was years ago, who had the different ways to keep it in front of him or near him and keep it protected. That was something I was like, oh, he's little and he falls. So
yeah.
The exhibitors were helpful with that.
Good. Yeah, that is huge that you were able to take advantage of that, because online shopping is what a lot of us do, but that's different when you're there in person and you're touching it and you're, like I said, seeing the mounts and things that they had available. So I'm sure that made it easier for you to picture that in your home and at school and on the bus and in the car. And yeah.
And I've always appreciated the school's help with that too, finding, so now we have a new chair and we need to adjust it. There's
nothing stays the same.
Yeah. He's grown. Wait, now we need to do this. Yeah.
So as far as medical diagnosis, he has cerebral palsy.
Yes. Yeah. The main, he had a brain injury at or around the time of birth that caused cerebral palsy. So he uses a wheelchair and a walker, a communication device. He's got hypotonia and hypertonia. So some areas of his body have low tone and others have high tone, and it's mixed. Sometimes you never quite know on a given day what will result. But in terms of that, it has really impacted his mouth. There are sounds that he can't make, or we have never heard him make in all of his life, that involve putting teeth to lips or different positioning, the fa, the va. These are things those are sounds he hasn't made before. So I was hesitant, if we start to focus on this device at home in therapy, should we be focusing on making the sound? Should we, it does take away. I wasn't concerned that if he uses a device, he won't talk, because it's easier. It's just easier to use verbal language. So I knew if he could do that, he would. But I was concerned about, if we start to focus solely on that, will that be an issue? And at 16, he's still not making those sounds. I think that's not something that was going to be in the cards for him.
No, and that I'm glad you brought that up, because I can see where, right away, the automatic response is, well, if we give them this, they'll never talk. It's like, oh, no. If they can, and whatever he can, we want that. This is just a supplement to, give him a chance to make it repair if it's something isn't understood. But you're saying now, as like I said, just motions of his mouth, all the movements, all the muscles, all the coordination that goes along with speaking, that never got easier for him. And it wasn't because people weren't, and that's sometimes our tick therapy is tough, because the kids really do have to drill on it. And if it's not easy, they don't want to do it. So that's going to be the first barrier. But it's just muscles, the brain talking to the muscles isn't going to be something that just automatically happens. So even at this many years later, he tries to speak, right? He's what we consider verbal, but his intelligibility hasn't gotten easier.
Right. And, it's kind of like a child developing speech where mom and dad know, I know what he's trying to say. And it's been a little trying to even figure that piece out of letting him freely communicate with us in ways that we understand. So he's not constantly frustrated, but I really kind of throughout his life have had to get out of the anticipating every need mode.
You do read his mind a lot, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. And when he was little, when he first came to us, and I think until almost 8, he would have breath holding spells where he would pass out when he got frustrated. And so I think we got into a mode of, let's keep him happy. Let's anticipate what he needs. And,
all right.
But we need to, we're just kind of constantly thinking through, okay, let's not anticipate every need. Let's let him express.
So you're walking a fine line between making sure he's trying versus you've pushed too much and he knows the tricks. Huh?
Yeah.
but yeah, no, again, that happened for him, I'm sure at an early age that he, and I don't want to say he's doing it on a conscious level, but he is aware of the fact that I'm frustrated and this is something that happens and then things get better. So yeah. Okay. So socially, he lights up a room and he greets everybody. Again, if we could read his mind now, he's not here to represent himself. So I'm going to put it out here that what do you think? Does he, as far as opportunities to communicate, he's got tons. And again, your family's busy, you're out and about, you're a family that's, got lots of stuff going on. Do you see him now frustrated with communication, or do you see him finding ways to kind of work through it?
I don't see as much frustration with it. I don't know that I feel like it's because he's figured out how to fix it as much as he's unfortunately at times just like, okay, fine, this is the way it is. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it quite as much.
Yeah, no, that's part of maturing. Is sometimes you pick your battles. We say that, but do you feel like sometimes he does the same? It's like I'm gonna enjoy the moment and just let it ride versus no, I've got something I have to say. I've got to tell you this. So yeah. Okay.
I think one thing you mentioned, we're out and about a lot. Isaiah he's very interested in the colors people are wearing, or if they've got kind of cool shoes on, or hats or bags. And so somebody will come up to him and want to say, hi, what's your name? Those kinds of things. And all he wants to talk about is their shoes or their hat. He's very focused on what he wants to talk about. So we've had, we chat a little bit about, okay, if somebody comes right up to you and they're talking to you, trying to answer that, trying to figure out, I think he's still working through figuring out that engaging conversation where it's not just about what you want to talk about. It's about what the other person has come in and brought up.
Well, that's I'm glad you brought that up, because that's, to me, the old SLP and me, that's a goal. That would be something we could be working on is I see that as like a compromise. Yes. I know you want to engage that person about what they're wearing, but there's social niceties is what, we have to sometimes work on. Society dictates. I don't know. Now I'm like, I don't know why, but you're right. There's certain things people expect you to do, but then you can turn it around. I'm telling Isaiah, he can turn it around to be what he wants to talk about, but he needs to kind of like do his part of that back and forth conversation. So yeah. Okay. All right. I'll pass that along to to his therapist, because that's what one thing that as far as just with my role as an outcome facilitator, I get to kind of like step back and just watch. And I do find us like sometimes putting our kids on the spot, answer this question, tell us this thing. And it's more about show me what you know, which that's how we can collect data. Yeah. Plus, mark, minus, whatever. But that may not be what Isaiah's all about. And I do consider him so bright, and he knows what's going on so that he's not tricked into, performing. So it's like that back and forth of, okay, I gotcha. I know what you want. Work with me here. Let's do this. And then we can do that. Maybe that would be, I'm wondering if we couldn't move further as far as, like I said, social conversation stuff. But I wonder why, as far as, do you have an idea of what's his fascination with accessories? And
I'm not sure. He's always liked colors. He always notices if I have my hair in a ponytail a little higher, he's like, he takes things in. A woman who comes over and hangs out with him quite a bit, a college student in town, she had purple shoes for years that she would wear, and she switched colors of shoes, and he was not having it. So every time she came, he pointed at her shoes and just kind of looked at her. Next pair she got were purple. So it's always something he's been super interested in.
Well, but again, that being detail oriented is a cool thing. I mean, it's a strength that, we've got other kids who are like, oh, he doesn't notice things. But no, Isaiah's noticing everything, but yet it's what he's noticing, not necessarily what we think he should notice. So.
Yeah, he takes in things that I don't. Like he's constantly, one of the questions he asks is, what do I hear? And I won't even hear something. And then I'm like, oh yeah, somebody's mowing their lawn. That he's taking in information that I think I tune out. So actually giving him that question pre-programmed really was good, because he would get distracted and fixated, but we didn't know what it was about. And it's about a weed whacker or something he's hearing and he's not sure what it is. That I think I just tune those sounds out.
Yeah, no, environmental, we do. We just get used to it. But that's what you think it's about, is he's asking you, tell me what I hear, tell me what that is. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to just do this, but then we thought to get it on his talker, he would just point to his ear. But so that's one thing that we've been kind of exploring now, is if we should be doing more of those full sentences, because it takes a lot of effort for somebody who's, it's kind of effort for him to lift his arm and reach everything and keep it up there. And if we can make some of it easier, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's, to me, the perfect outcome system is the combination of everything: full sentences, phrases, words, and spelling. So you ideally, Isaiah picks when he needs the full sentences, when he needs the phrases, when he needs the words, and when he needs to spell. So yeah, you're right. We do. We need to. But what I love about this conversation is you are sharing stuff with me, and as the speech pathologist to me is kicking in here. How can I then use that to help him? And I think sometimes we don't always gather that information.
Yeah,
it's just the way school's set up. It's kind of what happens at school stays at school, and what happens at home stays at home. So. One
thing I have appreciated, his last 2 years have been a new owner, and we started in the midst of the pandemic, so we started online. But they do a great job of having printed out visual things for him to make choices. And, in a geography lesson, yes, he could probably find places lake. But with his attention span and other distractions, if he can point to it on a piece of paper, ideally, if somebody else is maybe also pointing to it on his communication device or encouraging him that every once in a while, but he's been able to show what he knows when it hasn't always been about, say it on your device, but he has it right in front of him, and that visual aid, he's been able to show what he knows better. It's helped his attention and frustration.
Yeah, no, and I'm a big proponent for what we call multimodal. There's multiple ways you and I communicate every day. So I think our kids need that. And we do sometimes get the therapist and the teachers, so we get kind of hung up on, no, you have to use your device. And it's like, no, he doesn't have to, as far as, the big picture, but also I think the flow, him feeling content with, yeah, I'm a part of this versus, oh, you're making me work. You're putting a demand on me. So yeah, I'm glad you point that out, that because he is aware, he does know stuff, and the physical aspect of it is a whole component that we can't make go away. I mean, that's his body. That's something that he's dealing with.
And when he didn't have those visual printouts, there were several years in school where that wasn't a part of his learning, and they didn't know what he knew because he wasn't going to quickly use his communication device to show it. So it's been really helpful to have that as an option. Yeah.
And to use his device, I always want people to appreciate the fact it's comparable to you and I trying to learn a foreign language. I took a year, a semester, whatever, Spanish, didn't sink. But right now it's like, if you sent me to any other foreign country and expected me to communicate, I would have a horrible time. And to learn it would mean that whole, like I said, receptively, do I understand what they're saying versus receptively, do I understand kind of how those words are organized? But then to expressively put it together, that's a lot of thought process. And I think sometimes, again, I'm being critical of everybody else in the world, but the idea of I haven't walked in Isaiah's shoes. So I sometimes don't appreciate what it is to find that word. And again, kudos to him, praises for him for how much he does know and he has put together. But yeah, we have a tendency to expect, well, constant now. You should do this every day. You should do this, all day, day and night, And I think sometimes, we should we should give grace more. We should be more compassionate for, okay, well, yeah, you showed me. And like you were just saying, pointing to his ear, that's communicating the same thing, especially to you who him. But even the rest of us, we could learn that. So I would rather engage in that moment rather than, miss that opportunity. Okay.
One other thing that we felt like helped with his frustration when we would go somewhere in public, he, in particular, trying to go to a basketball game for his older brother, he would be very frustrated, but not tell us why. And he does now within those pre-programmed questions is, what are we doing?
Okay.
And he'll say, what are we doing next? And so that I think has taken it down, because he just wanted to know what's going on. How long are we here? What's coming next? And he wasn't able to express those things. So a couple of simple questions really seem to help with that as well.
Yeah, that's excellent information for us for all to remember, that we assume they know all this. We assume you've done this before, but you're right. It's more about, and I always have to ask people that, as far as I said, you've got the two verbal kids and then you've got Isaiah, your son and your daughter that were easily verbally communicate, they ask those same questions. I'm sure your daughter was like, what? We got to go again. We got to go.
Right. Why are we here?
Yeah.
Do we get to leave this basketball game?
You just dealt with it. But Isaiah needed that little more support as far as putting that together. So yeah, those are good examples of real life.
Yeah. Track meets are long. I felt the same way.
They are.
Yeah.
My son did a little bit of track and more middle school, but yeah, no, it was. And then, there's like your hours of time there, but he was on the track for, that much time, and but cross country even more so. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, that's a good reminder. All right. So now let's take it to, we've been talking about the here and now. What's the future? What do you kind of, in your hopes and dreams, what do you think of as far as Isaiah's future? He's not ready to leave us yet. He's not old enough. He's 16, but it comes fast. And I things sneak up on me. So when he has completed his education, as far as school goes, what do you see? What do you hope for?
And that is a tricky question. I think at times what we hope for doesn't align with what's available. Because of his other physical needs, things like a community engagement program, volunteering. He loves people. He loves going places. Those things I think he'd enjoy, but the kind of support that he needs because of the extra physical pieces that he needs, the opportunities don't sound great. So that's one thing that we've kind of struggled kind of trying to think through, what life is going to look like after high school. I know he just loves being with people and out and about. He doesn't like to be still all day in one place. Okay. So we're hoping that he has some opportunities that way. But in terms of communication, we always kind of wrestle back and forth of wanting to have hopes, big hopes, but also being happy in the here and now as well. That it's been a wrestle kind of throughout of accepting him for who he is and all the gifts he has right now while having big dreams for the future. Kind of can go back and forth because you can get a little frustrated with where you're at right now when you think about other bigger dreams. So we've had to balance that piece definitely. And also kind of constantly balancing, okay, I am your mom. I'm not your nurse. I'm not your SLP. I'm not your PT. I'm not your OT. But I didn't get into those roles with my older kids, but I kind of am with Isaiah. So we're kind of constantly wrestling to step back and just be parents sometimes too.
Yeah. And 16 is a rough age for, I'm sure with your other son and daughter. 16 were definitely challenging years. So, so you're dealing with a typical teenager plus somebody who needs you as far as more support goes. Do you, and this is where I start kind of wondering about the fact that he's in high school, he is a teenager. Do you think he has ideas of what he wants for his future?
So the school has been doing quite a bit of printouts where, he can choose, would you rather work here or there? And he is choosing things. Okay. And they do align with interests, I think, somewhat. But I'm not quite sure that he's thinking, oh, I leave this school place. I don't know that he's processing that piece.
And to him, it seems far, far away.
Right. I've been here for a long time. I may always be here.
Now, you and I have the idea of, oh man, time goes fast. He's like, it's the same old thing I've been doing for everybody else. I'll do this for years to come. Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah.
I think hopes and dreams wise, in terms of communication, it is that same piece that you said, where he just sees, oh, this gets what I want. This gets the interaction that I want, because what he wants is people talking to him. And I mean, he will ask his questions over and over because then somebody's talking to him and he wants that engagement, but struggles a bit with figuring out how to keep it going back and forth. We did, I think I mentioned a while ago, we had just a moment where it all came together at my brother's house, and he was surrounded by cousins and two grandparents and an aunt and uncle. And so he's obsessed with ocean animals, that. Oh. And he says crab all the time. And his aunt thought he was calling somebody crabby. And so she laughed and she said, oh, granddad's crabby. And so he said, granddad crab. And then because people were laughing, he was like, oh, I should tell you jokes. And so he went to his jokes page, and he's just in the middle of his whole family cracking everybody up. And my brother's a dentist, and he told a joke about dentists. So that was kind of fun. So that was one of those, I mean, my husband and I kept looking at each other like, oh, it's happening. It's
Yes,
finally
yes.
There's also moments of heartbreak where somebody's right there wanting to communicate with them and he just doesn't, where you're like, oh, come on, school dances, those kinds of things, where somebody comes up to you and is trying to engage and he's not.
Okay. All right. So we talk about like charting the life course, and the program that's available. So again, it's like, when you were talking about, oh, well, that's his career. He's going to be a comedian. He's going to be on stage.
We need to add more jokes. He's only got a few. We're a little tired of them.
Yeah. I said, the ones that come with the device are really lame. And then as far as we need to add more, and then we just, and like you said, you got to keep mixing them up. So, okay, I'll put that on my
years.
list.
He wanted to just say the punchline because that's when people laugh. So multiple jokes like knock knock, it's three different buttons. And he just wanted to tell the punchline because that's all the buttons happen. But he figured that out pretty quickly that's when somebody laughs. Do I have to do these other two?
Okay. And again, the path of least resistance, right? So if I can skip these steps, this is the payoff. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a smarty. No, and that's my big thing with all of our kids is I want people to appreciate how much what their beings are all about. And I sometimes feel like because it's hard for them to show it, we just assume that there's not much going on. So yeah, no. Isaiah does take the lead as far as letting people know. But you're right, it's that back and forth, that reciprocity of. I do this, you do this, I do this, you do this. But but he perceives that as effort. Okay, I got it.
Or, you have to care what other people want to talk about. And guess what? Not everybody wants to talk about crabs or clams. No. Not 8 times in a day. You gotta be tolerant,
Right. All right. Okay. Yeah. That's almost like we need to teach him, okay, you gotta listen to Cheryl go on and on and on about I don't know what, probably my son would probably be the thing that I'm more likely to go on about. So yeah, you need to listen to Miss Cheryl, do that. And then you can, so I can just see him like, okay, how many minutes has this been? How many, how much longer is she going to talk? Okay. All right. Well, those are such wonderful insights. And because my thinking now is because you live it, you understand it so much more than I can, being on the outside looking in. So I appreciate your time and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Tell us more about kind of what you do for fun and what you do for a living. Are you you're doing AAC and technology and equipment all day long, aren't you?
I am, yes. So I work for Variety now, the children's charity here in St. Louis, and I oversee a program that helps to pay for equipment for children whose insurance won't cover it, or families can't afford the copay or the deductible. So I get to provide communication devices that help approve and pay for those. I get to be a part of the process. There's lots of really generous donors who are making that happen. So that's been exciting. And all of the different equipment Isaiah's used throughout his life. Those are the things that I'm helping families get connected with. So that's been great. And every once in a while I'm like, ooh, I need to explore that for him.
Yeah. It's almost like, for online shopping, we talked about that. Right. You're kind of like, oh, somebody brought this up. I didn't know about this. And you can't keep up with it all. It's too much. So
I get to constantly learn about new technology. And then I also help families get connected with therapy and paying for therapy when there's copays, and insurance isn't covering that as well. So that's been super rewarding after years of we've been cared for by so many different charities and schools and organizations. Today's Give St. Louis Day, I think. And my whole email, you realize how many charities have been a meaningful impact in your life on this day, for sure.
Yeah, no, and again, I thank you for all the time and all the effort you're putting into all of this, because like I said, you understand, you're definitely somebody who is appreciating what it means. And the Variety I want to say Variety Club, has been around forever and has blessed so many families. So I appreciate the fact that you're continuing that. And parent wise, I think as far as ARC, you have been helpful with making sure parents have a chance to come together and share.
Yep. So I used to work at the St. Louis ARC, and while there thought, kind of selfishly, I would like a group of parents whose children use communication devices, because I feel like I'm kind of constantly needing to be re-inspired and reminded, okay, to focus on it and to have hope within those meetings. Every time I ask what's something great your kid has done in the last month, because it's just so helpful to hear somebody else. It's just helpful to hear the success stories. And so, that's been great. It's really been helpful just as parents to share ideas and encourage each other.
I'm so thankful. So appreciative of the fact that you and ARC and Variety and everybody are coming together to make sure that parents have that support. So, and like I said, as far as Isaiah is not old, but of the families that, a lot of times need that support, you are a seasoned.
All of a sudden, I'm a parent of an old child. Yes.
I mean, again, it's like just perspective wise, it happens fast, but you have a lot to share. So I am so thankful for you and making sure that you do feel like your time is well spent, and I'm hoping that it will continue on for years and years to come. So. All right, Julie. Well, thank you so much. So again, tonight you've given me your time, and hopefully the information we're sharing with the community for AAC, and you have, been a blessing to everybody tonight that has had a chance to hear you and to learn from you. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Blessing to our family.
What do you like to do?
Well, I like to talk to you, and I need your help. Okay. So the reason I asked Miss Laura to set this all up.
Like to eat.
Oh,
well, hold on.
Are you listening to what her answer was first?
Let me finish what I'm up to here. All right. So I have a new kiddo that's starting with the same device that you have, and he likes jokes. He loves to tell jokes. So I thought, well, if you can show him where some jokes are and which ones you like and talk about what's fun about your device, then I can show him when I get him all set up on his device, what you recommend. Okay. So that's your job for today, is to help me get this ready for a student. He's going to be 13 years old. So he's a little younger than you. And he definitely likes to talk to people and be social. So I need your help.
Okay. Did you hear that? You're going to show off what it is that you like about your device. What's cool? What do you like to do? You were just getting ready to ask some questions.
Yeah. You like to interview people. I know that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What music do you like to listen to?
I like country music and I like Christian music. What do you like to listen to?
Too many choices, huh?
Tell me something funny.
Okay.
She
is a funny lady, isn't she?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're the one that likes to tell jokes. I don't know any jokes. That's a hard one for me, Isaiah. I don't know what other people think is funny. How about, no, I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. You're the funny guy. I'm the serious old woman. You're the funny one.
Can you tell us something funny?
Fish.
Fish.
What's funny about that?
Fish.
I don't know.
You have to say more about that.
Horse.
No. Sounds, huh?
Sounds didn't match, but that is something cool about your talker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Horse. Says.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure does. So that's something funny, isn't it? I bet how old did you say?
13.
Oh yeah, definitely a 13-year-old would like that.
Says.
I can see you being at the zoo talking to the animals all day. Have you done that?
Have you talked to any zoo animals?
Bird.
Oh yeah. Did you go to the bird cage?
Purple.
Purple what? What's that? Something funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're thinking funny.
Crab.
Purple crab
Crabs.
question mark. Have you seen a purple crab? Where? You went to places. Where?
Farm.
What? What?
Farms. Farms.
I don't think so. Oh yes, your jokes.
Yeah.
Is it working?
On. On. On.
Oh.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Cows go.
Cows go who?
Oh.
Boo.
What?
Don't cry. It's only a joke.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry.
Boo hoo, boo hoo.
Cows go boo?
What does a dentist call his x-rays?
Oh, what does it? Dentist?
Oh, you didn't give her a chance to think about it.
Give that one to me again. I didn't get the punchline.
What does a dentist call his x-rays?
Okay, I don't know.
X.
Toothpicks, yeah.
Yes. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Why did the cow cross the road?
Why did he cross the road? I don't know.
To get to the movies.
The movies. That'll work.
Why do hummingbirds hum?
Why do the hummingbirds hum?
Know the words.
They don't know the words. All right. All right.
Love it. That one's even better.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. Did you write that one?
Horseback riding.
What? About horseback riding.
Weightlifting.
Ooh.
Golf.
Are these what you like?
Golfs. Why did the bumblebee put honey under his pillow?
I don't know. Why did the bumblebee put honey under his pillow?
Because they don't know the words.
What? I think we got two jokes combined there, didn't we?
I don't get it. I don't get it. Got more?
What does Santa do in his 3 gardens? Ho, ho, ho.
Okay, so there we go. What does Santa do?
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, I know, but what was the first part?
Ho, ho, ho.
What does Santa do where? In his gardens, right?
Oh,
Free
Santa do in his
garden.
gardens. He ho ho ho's. Okay.
Mm,
Yeah, that makes sense. So Isaiah, what's your favorite thing about your device? What do you like to do the most? What should I tell this new guy?
Horse. Horse. Says I'm going.
you like the sounds?
So you like to give all the sounds, okay?
Says I'm going.
Do you tell me more about asking people questions? You started off with that and then we kind of got sidetracked. What's some questions that you like to ask?
No, silly. Cows go moo.
Do you have any other questions?
That's funny.
I'm so glad that it's something that you enjoy because it makes me happy to see you smile.
Is there an owl there?
You like to make people laugh too, don't you?
Is there an owl there?
Is what over here?
Is there an owl?
Ow, oh, not that I found. Did you send one? Did you send an owl to come see me?
That would be fun.
Want to hear a knock knock joke?
Sure, give me one.
Don't cry. It's only a joke.
Oh, you didn't even tell it.
Do you need new jokes in your device?
Hmm.
Would you like some more?
Me.
Me?
Do you,
Is that a yes? Do you want more?
do you have a joke book that we should be looking at and finding some new jokes?
Me.
Me.
Well, you can write jokes. I'm okay with that. If you write it, make it funny.
You want some hermit crab jokes?
Me.
Me what? Me what? Want more?
Me?
Anything?
Okay.
You wore yourself out there.
Hermit crabs.
All right, I have a favor to ask Isaiah. Okay, so again, I've got a guy that's going to get a device. He's going to get a Nova Chat, just like yours. And his also has touch chat with word power, and it's got the 60 basics. So it looks just like yours. So if you could tell him one thing that he should learn, what could that be? What's your favorite thing that you want him to do too? Should he just learn like to say animals, or should he learn to tell jokes, or should he learn to ask questions, or what should he do?
Fish. Fish.
So the animals are the thing he should start with, huh?
You want somebody that you can talk ocean with, huh?
Okay. What else would you tell him? How about what questions would you ask him? If you guys could meet, what questions would you ask this new guy?
Frog. Dance.
Oh, if he likes to dance, yeah, okay.
Name. Dance. Name dance.
Name dance, okay. He should be able to tell people what dances to do.
Or are you asking her name?
Name dance.
Are you wanting me to dance?
Yes.
Ah!
Oh.
I was gonna say, that's something that I don't do, Isaiah. I'm not a good dancer. So how would you teach me to dance?
Crab.
Just like a crab dancing? Like that?
That's all you need to do.
Fish.
Yeah, so more like a swimming dance. Okay.
There you go.
Horse.
A horse dance? Like
There you go.
then I could be a cowgirl. If I dance like a horse, I could be a cowgirl.
Pig. Horse pig.
But the horses, when they pick up their front feet, hoofs, is that what they are?
Goat. 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 Goat.
Yeah. So when I think of goats, I think of them butting their heads. So
Yeah.
is that a new dance, to butt heads?
Ouch.
Yeah.
Only try that once.
I. Blue jay.
So now we're flying like a bird.
Fly like an eagle. That's a song.
Yeah, it is. That's right. He's a little young for that, Laura. That's an oldie but a goodie.
No, you're into oldies, Isaiah.
Chicken. Chicken. Chicken.
I definitely know the chicken dance.
I was saying that. All right, so we just made Isaiah's day. He's got the old lady dancing. All right. Well, thank you so much for your help. It was good seeing you. Good talking. Good dancing.
Time to say goodbye.
Pig. Horse pig.
I don't know how to combine those two.
Adios. Got any good ways to say goodbye there? Goodbye. So
See ya.
Hey there, so for our resource this week, we just wanted to highlight, again, the AAC parent group. That is a local parent group that is available via Zoom for other parents for children who use AAC devices. It is supported and ran through St. Louis ARC, and if you go to slar.org/programs/family-support/groups/ you will find, it is the very first one. You see that they meet the second Thursday of every month, and it's for parents and children of all ages. And the contact person is Leanna Sanders, and she can be reached at 314-817-2269. And I believe her email is also hyperlinked on that webpage. But they're a fantastic group who have highlighted speakers that come in, and they have just a variety of topics that they talk on a regular basis. So definitely check that out this summer when you have some time, or share it with a family that you support.
Hi guys, it's Cheryl. Wanted to introduce you to my new friend, Tadiwita. I'm not sure if that's how he pronounces his name, but this is something that I checked out from the IRC here at Special School District, and I thought we might do a little demo with the understanding that my thinking here is that we are going to use this for communication, to entice and promote and motivate and have a good time. So let me introduce you to my friend. He needs to be charged, so he comes with a USB cable that plugs right in here, but once he's got a good charge going, so that was him showing off a little bit, but I wanted to let you know that not only can he do his own stage show there's a remote control. So what I'm thinking is the remote control doesn't have to be physically connected to the students. It can be them telling us, and we, the communication partner, will take care of making it happen. So let's say we want him to go forward.
Oh my, why don't you play with me?
He's getting tired of waiting on me. I have an up arrow.
Slide forward. Stop. Slide backward. Turn right. Turn left.
So he is actually announcing, I don't know how well you're able to pick that up, but he is announcing what he's doing as I'm pushing these buttons. But of course, we can have fun, we can dance.
Let's dance together.
And it's Friday afternoon while I'm recording this, or showing this to you guys, is definitely time for a dance party. What if we just play music?
Let's listen to the music and relax.
I want you to think about all the fun things that you guys could be doing with the robot, with a remote control, and somebody, preferably one of your kids, students, giving you some commands and then you following through.
I'm intelligent robot, Airlock. What's your name?
And making sure that they see that what they said made a difference. Lots of fun. Check him out. He's at the IRC.
My favorite. The end. I'm so glad we wrapped up the season with that.
Yeah, and you know, it wasn't. We didn't. I mean, we're good. We're smart, but we didn't really. I didn't think there. It was just timing, just the way schedules were working out. And yeah, but I'm so glad it worked out that way. So yeah, no, it's good.
It's just pure joy. Like, it's why we do what we do. It makes me so happy. Such a good example that I think people can come back to and say, this is what it can be. So it's a great one to end on. But good. Speaking on ending, I think I might have said this last week, but we have been picked up for season 3.
Yay!
And we are going to be in a new home. So we have had several people ask about subscribing, and we were having to send everything out on a closed link so that it was unrestricted. And we have talked to communications here at SSD, and we are going to be housed under the SSD YouTube channel. So for our fantastic individuals who have subscribed, you can now subscribe. At the end of August, we will officially be moved to the SSD official YouTube channel. So you can subscribe so that you will be alerted anytime we post a new video. And you can share it. You can share it with anybody that you want to. That YouTube channel is an open network channel. And so we are just so excited to be able to tell you guys that and offer you some more great episodes next year. We already have some people in kind of our minds that we want to interview and resources we want to share. But, you know, Cheryl, I'll speak for both of us and say that we want input. So if you guys have somebody or you want to dive further into a topic or a new topic we haven't touched on, let us know.
Yes. Again, our intent is to share and to educate and to make people feel more comfortable with, you know, what's coming up in their daily lives as far as their work goes. So what is it that you're asking about? What is it that you would like to know more about? Please let us know.
So we'll wrap up the season and just say thank you to the listeners. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for listening to us. And thank you for doing all the things that you do for AAC users. Like just really, truly from the bottom of our hearts, like we couldn't do what we do without you. And you are the integral crux to supporting these students and helping them just share their joy, be like Isaiah, share their joy and touching the lives of them and their families. And it just means so much. So have a great summer.
Yes. Enjoy.
For Innovative AAC Solutions, I'm Laura Hayes.
And I'm Cheryl Livingston. See you
later.
In the fall.